One question in light of the Bernie Madoff scenario: why should I ever pay a fee to a fund of funds? Basically, someone whose sole job is to pick other funds, put my money there, and get a fee for it. Why would you do that? After Bernie Madoff, it's a fair question, and here to answer it is a fund of funds manager. Ari Bergmann is managing principal at Penso Capital Markets. Ari, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Nice being here.
All right, so this is a fair question that a lot of people have, and I want, as a fund of fund manager, first of all, let's put this out there. Someone came to you and gave you the opportunity to put your clients' money in Bernie Madoff, and you said no.
That's true.
How come? What made you screen it and get it right?
We did any due diligence, showed you that you could not invest in Bernie Madoff. We actually checked his trading statements, and they made no sense. They looked very fishy.
And why was that? Just because they just looked way too consistent when the market was down a lot, they still showed they were up? Was it that simple, or was it something else?
It was that simple, but even more. You'd expect as volatility increase, the prices will be different and the returns will be different. And they're just too consistent, and the prices did not look real.
So you said no.
We said no.
All right. Now, how do you go about as a fund of funds manager and allocating money? Because a lot of people have this point. They say, if I give you money, you take a fee, and then you go put it in other funds, and then they get a fee. So as the investor, I'm paying a lot of money for your service. In light of what we heard, Mort Zuckerman talking about him giving money to a fund of funds, they put all the money with one guy. I mean, can you make the case for why this model makes sense?
I think that clearly was a break in the due diligence of these funds. As a fund of funds, we do our job. We do what's called a strategy due diligence. We check the managers, and we understand. We've traded the markets, and we know when something is real and something is not. And we also do a lot of operational due diligence to avoid this kind of pitfalls.
Right, do you get a chance to look at their back office and see how they're accounting for things? Is that part of what you do?
Yes, but I think it's more important. Here's more basic. There are 4 rules of basically back office integrity. You have to have your assets with custody, with somebody else. You've got to trade with an independent counterparty. You have to have independent accounting and independent auditing. Once you have that in place, you know that at least the returns are more or less real.
Right, because you'd have to have way too many people. It's just impossible to actually pull it off any other way.
It's always possible, but also we have something called diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You've got to have your assets with a lot of different managers, because you could always find crooks out there.
All right, so fund of funds, what do you think will happen over next year? I mean, a lot of people have got to be coming to you and asking questions or redemptions. How are you going to play through this?
I think that fund of funds, number one, the first question for funds of funds will be, have you had money in Madoff, directly or indirectly? And the answer will have to be no, because if you had money with Madoff, you would have to explain why did you do that.
Because it didn't pass any of the tests. Well, Ari, thank you very much. We appreciate your taking the time.
Thank you very much.
And coming out here. We've been trying to get fund of funds guys to come give their side of it, and we appreciate your taking the time.
Happy New Year.
All right, you too. Ari Bergmann, as we said, Managing Director with Penso Asset Management.